Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Hey, welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour and 90 minutes. We do 3 gun-related topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the live comments from people that are watching us live. When we're all done, we'll take the audio and post it as a podcast on iTunes. And we encourage everybody who listens to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback, thumbs up the show, give it a heart or a plus sign or whatever it is on whatever platform you listen to us on. It helps us know where you are and where you're listening. It also helps the show get recommended to more listeners, and that is one of our goals. So we appreciate that favor. We have 5 hosts. 2 of us are here today. We got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Glad to be here.
I'm down here in Arizona. We don't know where Smeggy is. We don't know where Bob is, but we know Z's in Maui, and he'll probably be jumping in about an hour when he's done with one of his 9 to 5s. So we are starting episode. What happened to my schedule? Close my schedule. Oh, here it is. We are starting episode number 294. And we'll be talking about gun stuff today, the Dragon's Breath or other incendiary rounds. Then we'll be talking about what training classes to take if you're planning out a group of them. And then we talk about different shooting events from the calendar over at gunchannels.com on Thursdays. And then, of course, everything that we hit on a daily basis. Before we get into all that, though, we usually take a break at the beginning of the show, see if anything happened overnight or anything worth talking about.
I don't have anything.
Me neither. Matt was on last night. It's just sort of a general show, got a lot of talk about politics and stuff. Not too much gun stuff.
Well, didn't he have, it was last night the one where he did the top 5 revolvers or something like that?
Yeah, it was a horrible list. I don't think anybody should be part of that list. And
then it was like a lot of, not, I shouldn't say a lot, but there was a certain proportion of just brand new stuff.
Yeah, it was 99% that. A little bit of a list at the end, but it was a good change of pace from some of the political stuff from last week or just the nerd stuff they do on Mondays.
Yep.
Otherwise, I was listening to Good Morning Gun Channels. You were on there earlier today. Were you driving to the gym? Is that what all that driving around was?
No, I was driving. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That seems like yesterday. I drove to the range today and took the Tokarev there, along with my new Glock 43, along with my regular carry Glock, along with my AK, for various reasons, for different things. But the Tokarev is in good overall working order. I do need to make a change, and that's the Yugoslavian Tokarev did not ever have a manual safety on it until they went to import it into this country, and that's when they were put on by some guy with a piece of sheet metal and a Dremel, and decided that he could make a safety.
Well, you taking it off then?
Well, I completely detail stripped it yesterday, both to first of all verify the inside condition, as well as to get as much of the cosmoline as I can out of it, and that really did help a lot in regards to smoothing out the action and that sort of thing. But that's how I was able to see the lackmanship or lack thereof in the part that they call the safety. And I mean, you see grinding marks all over the place where it just looked like I mean, there was like zero finishing on it compared to every other part in the pistol. It looked like a carpenter was trying to machine steel rather than a machinist. So the problem is that even with the safety in the off position, it tends to be a little bit loose. Well, that little bit of looseness can be the difference being able to pull the trigger and have it fire, and pull the trigger and nothing happens. So I had to sit there with my thumb on the safety to hold it in the down position to fire each time. So I did fire, probably about 20 rounds altogether today to verify that, basically 99% of the gun is in good working order, working well, which it is. I was shooting 6-inch steel plates at 45 feet. Seemed reasonably accurate to me, which is all I'm concerned about as far as accuracy. 6 inches from 45 feet, good enough for me. I'm not interested in putting a hole in a hole. But I think what I'm going to do, and then I haven't come to a final decision, but what I'm leaning towards is removing this Dremel screwed up backyard engineered manual safety, which I've already had out of the gun. And then first of all, I know it will work just fine because I've already had it in that stage of disassembly. And then try to hunt down some sort of acceptably looking plugs, plastic, rubber, whatever, plugs to insert in each hole in each side. I don't necessarily like that solution, but the way it is now is not acceptable. And frankly, the way they did the safety was half-ass at best. And that has nothing to do with Zastava, which made the pistol. It has to do with the company that imported it and the third party that they used to create these piece of junk safeties, manual safeties. So anyway, the rest of my range trip went stellar. Enjoyed the day at the range, and now I'm back home, and now I've got I don't know, four guns to clean, I think. So yeah, that's what's new with me.
So did you post anything? I was just looking at the Instagram to see if you posted anything about a picture of that or anything. No.
A picture of the safety?
Right.
No, I did not.
Talking about this modification being made, is it where you can see it, or is it behind the grip?
It's behind the grip.
Okay.
I mean, from the outside, it looks like, oh, it looks okay as far as polish, but it's everything you can't see that looks like it was done out of some garage or backyard engineering place.
So I'm just looking on Instagram to see if you had posted a picture so I could screen share it. No, you didn't, but I see that Heavy is in Phoenix. So what's up with Heavy being in Phoenix, not telling anybody?
That I don't know. Actually, I did post some pictures of the Zastava, both disassembled and assembled, as well as the roll mark on the hashtag Daily Gun Show.
Okay, so...
But I don't know if the safety showed up in the picture of the gun. I don't remember which side of the gun I took a picture of. Yeah, it was the...
I would think it'd be around here somewhere. Here?
Yeah, see below the red dot, see that hole?
This hole?
That one, yep. That hole. That's where the safety inserts to. Now, the hole itself looks like that, if they drill pressed it, so it looks reasonably straight through. So that's not it. And of course, in that picture, I didn't bother putting the safety itself because, it doesn't want to sit flat and fit into the picture. And
those pictures are the other side. So that's the pin that comes through from the other side with safety?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And that's the roll mark. But yeah, so I'm thinking, if I can find some sort of insert or plug, just to keep like sand and crap from getting in there over time. And then at least it's back into its original design, which I'm fine with.
Well, there's Dano's Instagram if anybody wants to jump onto it. College Dano's Adventures with that thing. So yeah, take some pictures of it though, so we can see what you're talking about. But
yep, I'll take some pictures of the high level of workmanship of. I almost said Bob's Garage, but I don't mean Bob as in biker Bob. We'll call it Joe's Garage. That Joe's Garage and Backyard Emporium and part-time safety maker did for Zastava to import the guns to the United States.
They were talking about it the other day about your Cosmoline adventures. How bad was it getting the Cosmoline off of there?
It wasn't too bad. It was, you know, a little bit time consuming. I didn't have any mineral spirits or anything like that handy, but I did have isopropyl alcohol, which is a thinner in its own right. It's not as strong, but it does work on Cosmoline if you just have a light amount. And it just you know, takes time, Q-tips, and patience. You know, but I can't imagine trying to do that with a rifle. Although I understand that that's when a lot of people will use the PVC pipe method. And by that, for those that may not know what that means, you simply cap one end of the PVC pipe with a PVC cap, and then you strip down the parts you don't want in exposed solvent off, and then you get a pipe that's big enough to slide your rifle in vertically, and then fill it up with the solvent of your choosing. And in my experience, you know, depending on how long it's been in there, 10 to 20 minutes, yeah, I mean, it just comes off like jelly if you're using like mineral spirits. It's very easy to come off. What's difficult, and maybe you can speak to this, G-Webs, is getting it out of wood, like wood grips and stocks. That I have no experience with.
Yeah, I don't really either. I've got some, I guess, that had it on there, but this is Arizona, so it got pretty hot, kind of melted out on its own, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure people probably put it in ovens or something to achieve what just happened out here in the summer.
Well, you know, I would think you could almost, you know, you wouldn't want to put it on the concrete because then you're going to get that material in the concrete. But if you set it outside somewhere, you know, out of the breeze, and then just, you know, every half hour, take some paper towels and wipe it down, and just slowly until you get out whatever you can get out, because it gets so hot in the sun, you know, come July.
All right, well, so we brought Moon in. He's got this gun that he had done at ATI. Or you might want to talk about it. And since we got Smeggy today, trying to help be a Smeggy. So we might have a Bob coming in.
How's it going?
Good.
Mr. Glick, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Glick.
No, that's
guy
an
is
inside
so
joke.
close to the O on the keyboard. It's tight.
Yeah, that's Gun Channel story time, but it's current. Current story. Happened just days ago.
Well, I was going to bring up a picture of it. So you want to tell us about your 19? What's the deal? Why did you decide to do this? Because the DB does it? You just do whatever DB does?
Yeah, pretty much. Like he's like a test. He tests everything out, and then if he likes it, it should be good. So yeah, I was gonna get a red dot, but then I figured I should save my money, and I still wanted the serrations because they look cool. But I also like the function that front serrations serve.
So is this like a kit or whatever, like a style you buy from them, or do you tell them exactly what you want?
It's the enhanced front and rear serrations. So they widen and deepen the rear serrations and make more of them. So it's about a I'd say almost a ½ inch of more serrations in the rear. And then the front you can have done to where they leave the roll marks, or they cut through them, or they take away the remnants of them.
Do you have a chance? Excuse me. Do you have a chance to? Oh, is that it there?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So you kept your roll marks. You kept it saying 19 in Austria.
Yep.
What's on the other side?
Just serrations.
Now, how do you like the grippiness of both the enhanced ones in the back as well as the front?
They're definitely noticeably better than the factory.
Yeah, these are sweet. I've pulled a couple of guns back that have these on them, and they give you more for your skin or whatever to get into, and then they're sharper. So there's more of the grip, and then it's more pronounced, right? Like it's sticky. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what, they did something to it. They reblued it or cartridged it or something.
Yeah, I think they black nitrided it or something. They call it the factory finish, but it's like 3 times as good as the factory finish nowadays. So you're getting a way better finish in the end too when they have to refinish.
Did they do any work on the frame? It just looks a little different.
No, I just sent the slide.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just an effect of the picture.
The frame is an RTF2 frame.
Okay, that's what it is.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Just finally got an RV park, so.
Just have a seat in the back row and be quiet.
Where are you at, Bob?
Quiet. I'm just in Arizona now. So just crossed the border.
Did you go on 40? Did you take 40?
Yeah, I'm not quite at show though.
So did you see the very large array?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Together, or was it spread out, or what's going on with that?
It's pretty close together. Well, it looks close together until you get up close and see the size of them.
Right, but they weren't. When they're far away from each other, you can barely tell they exist because they're like really far away from each other.
Yeah, no, there was probably I don't know, maybe 20 dishes all kind of in a clump.
Cool. All right, we'll get back to that. But Moon, did you do something to the sights, or was that the sights? Well, those weren't sights that were on it, obviously. Those are the sights that you had on it, or did you have these added to it?
The rear sight was the sight that came with it, but the front sight was that gold bead that came on the Vickers Glock, and I switched it out for the green fiber optic. So I wanted to try the fiber optic.
You also got tritium underneath of there, or no?
No. But they make a tritium front post for that rear fiber optic and the gold bead and all blacked out. So I just like the U-notch rear, and then you have options in the front.
So do you think the gold bead is just more of a fashion passing than actual any functionality?
Well, I think it's function. It's something that's classy and functional at the same time.
Dude,
you can't say it's not functional.
It's super strong and it's super functional. It works well in both light and dark.
Well,
like target is.
The reason I say that is because it's been around for a long time on shotguns, and I would think other people would have noticed it in the past 50 years and used it on other devices.
Shotguns, 10-22s, like a bunch of different rifles use some kind of brass bead or gold dot type thing for the front. But yeah, it's good. It's good to go, in my opinion. I just wanted to try fiber optic. I never had a fiber optic front sight. So
you put it in like bubble wrap or have some sort of foam padded holster for it?
Well, there's a meme going around that says, what if my fiber optic breaks? And it's an old guy with his hands up saying, well, I guess I'll die. So.
Yep.
Now, in that picture that UWebs is showing right now, when you took it, were you trying to get the front post to light up like that?
No, it was natural light coming through the window that did it.
So it's just, but Okay, so it was, and you realized it afterwards.
No. I set it up so the light would hit it, and
Oh,
I'd get a
okay.
good picture.
You just didn't set up like a flashlight or something to make it happen.
Yeah, no. It's daylight through the window.
So what they charge you for all this business?
202 after a coupon code, and I think it's 115 for the serrations and 90 for the recoat or something. I
So
forget exactly how much, but it was around $200.
So if you were going to get it Cerakoted, you might still go get it chopped and cut up and then send it to your Cerakoter, or they probably.
Yeah, you could do that. You could have it sent back without refinishing. So.
Have you shot it much yet or played with it at all?
Nah, but I've been messing with it a lot. It's pretty cool. I like it.
First time I seen something from ATI, it was one of Steve Fisher's guns. He had like sort of a fish scale, kind of a weird, sort of like what is on an M&P already.
Yeah, they do that on the top.
Yeah, and that thing was so awesome. I would do that to all of my guns, but I feel like I would be handicapping myself because then all other guns would just suck. Like that, they should do that to the top of all guns from the beginning. Like all guns should have to have that.
I thought about adding it. I thought about calling them up and telling them to add it.
What does that cost, though? That's a lot of work.
It's not really a lot because you could add it to the front or the rear, or you could do the whole thing. So you can just do it to the rear, and it's like $50 or something. It's not a lot.
To add what?
Top serrations. They're like wavy fish scale type serrations on the top.
The kind you see on the sides.
Normally.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind.
That is super sticky. Like really easy to operate a slide on almost anything. You can just look at it funny and the slide will operate. It's pretty nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the work. I like it. They had a good reputation, so I sent it there. There's a bunch of places you could send your gun off to, or your slide.
So from the day you sent it out until the day it showed up at your doorstep, how much time had passed?
It was about 4 weeks.
If
they had a 2 to 6 week wait turnaround.
It looks like if you would have got those serrations, you'd have been able to take a picture like Everyday Civilian has going on here.
Yeah.
It's too bad. Now, were they like, oh shit, you're Instagram famous, and then your shit got going quicker, or do you think it was normal, or what?
What do you mean?
Do they know who you were and got it done quicker?
No. They haven't even reposted my picture yet, if they're going to at all.
Oh, okay. Well, they should, because most of these pictures suck. Pretty much. So I'm trying to find a picture of the other side to see what the other side looks like. The best I can get was that one up here, I think.
Yeah, just pretty much straight serrations, yep.
And they're sort of a little bit smaller up front still than in the back, so that they look like the other side.
Yeah, they match up to the other side. Everything lines up pretty good when you look down from the top.
Cool. So for you, is this going to be more along the lines of kind of like one of your custom guns versus one you had customized but for carry?
This is for carry, yeah.
Okay.
I might do it to another one. And now Glock is offering, as I had this thing sent away, Glock announced that they're offering this summer the 17 FS and the 19 FS, which are, the FS stands for front serrations, but they're still standard Glock serrations.
Yeah.
And it's Gen 4 only.
I do like their enhanced rear serrations. They are a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah.
How much are they?
Into the logo a little bit.
You said it was like 100 and something for the serrations part of your deal, but if you would have got just half the serrations, it'd have probably been cheaper.
Yeah.
Is that an option just to get the rear ones improved?
Yep.
Yeah, you could probably, if they do it, just have them do a couple of stations. I mean, they don't care. It's just setting it up and charging you some labor.
Yeah, you'd probably have to contact them through email or call them.
Did you get one of these patches like this?
No, no patch.
I might have 2 of those. We'll see.
Some business cards.
So are you going to end up with anything else to that gun?
I don't know about this particular gun, but the next Glock I send them might get an RMR on the top.
Do you have that remote switch for the flashlight?
No. The DG switch, no.
All right, well, I think with that, we'll keep digging into the show. So did we even do a first topic today?
No, we haven't even started the show yet.
Yeah, so let's get into the first topic. Moon, feel free to stick around as long as you want. We're going to talk about Dragon's Breath or Incendiary rounds. So I don't know where we want to go with that one. You guys shot Dragon's Breath before?
Not me.
I do have something that I just wanted to read because I was kind of curious myself, as I had heard of it and seen some videos, but I wanted to just get a little bit more details. And this is from Wolf Hill. Dragon's Breath ammo shotgun shell is loaded with magnesium balls that will produce a 100-foot muzzle flash and launch the magnesium up to 75 yards. It's designed to throw sparks, flames, or a fireball that simulates a flamethrower. So I was just curious as far as how it worked and how far it went. And obviously, you know, if you're using it in a rifle shell instead of a shotgun shell, it's going to have a different effect. But I'm not sure what direction we wanted to take this.
Well, have you guys shot Dragon's Breath before?
I have not. I've seen videos of it, and I've obviously read a little bit about them.
I think we've shot them back before they were called Dragon's Breath, specifically like as a brand name, but when they were just weird shotgun shells you can buy at gun shows. I've shot.
Yeah, I've never shot them.
Were they better back in the day? I heard they were better back in the day.
I don't know. I mean, they happened so quickly. If we would have had video to record it or something, that would have been pretty cool. But all I've ever seen them is like from the side or from behind them shooting them. And, you know, we would shoot at stuff and it didn't really catch nothing on fire. It just throws, like, at least the stuff we had through, like, particle, basically burning flint. You know, it wasn't anything of substance. It wasn't like a splash of burning material that would hit a target and stay burning. It just kind of bounced off like if it was a,
I mean,
a grinder.
Kind of like, you know, lighting a candle. You have to hold it there to get the candle to light. Just the fact that there's a flame there doesn't instantly turn it into flame.
Yeah, and this was more like I think the way to describe it is like if you had like a grinder or something, or you held a nail up to a grinding wheel. You know, it's just a bunch of sparks. It's nothing of significance. So it's not there to catch anything on fire. It was mainly just to either scare birds or to make like firework almost. At least the stuff we got back in the gun shows.
But I can see like a 4th of July sort of a thing is, you know, because part of it is, you know, is I forget exactly where they put it in here, but to be used for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, shooting that stuff up in the air on 4th of July, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty safe. Just shooting it up, unless you have trees above you.
Yeah. You know, go on the back deck and just like the fireworks up in the sky, go ahead and launch a few out there, light up the backyard.
So what about other incendiary rounds? I think I've shot just about everything that's ever been available at a gun show. So that's pretty much a lot of stuff. And then when I was a kid, I didn't care at all about whatever I bought, and I would just go out and shoot it. So we've shot tracers and incendiary. And I don't know, pieces of wood or else propane tanks or spray cans.
I've shot tracers, but that's it.
Tracers are probably more fun. Incendiaries just burn when they hit because usually you're not shooting them. Well, at least we never shot them in enough range. So the best thing we would do is hit them at a piece of wood, and then you could run up and look at it, and it would just be burning in the piece of wood for a while.
Right.
Well, we're not getting a lot of feedback from the other side, from the YouTube side or the gun channel side.
I think I shot 22 caliber tracers at Gophers one time. That was kind of funny. Didn't set them on fire.
It's almost the same thing.
Of what? Fireworks?
Yeah. Now, if you douse the gopher with gasoline first and then shot him, that could be really funny, but probably would start a lot of stuff on fire.
Oh, you said you shot him at Gophers? Shit, I thought you were saying
yeah,
shot him before. But anyway, out at Big Sandy or something, 22 tracers might be neat just to watch them. Whatever.
You shot them at, Bob, are you joking around or are you serious? You actually shot them at living animals?
I shot them at gophers. The difference between shooting with that and shooting with a hollow point or a dum-dum round you made yourself. Kills them just the same.
It just also catches fire to the area they're in. So
I never cease to be amazed.
They're gophers, man.
Unabashed shenanigans in Canada.
Yeah, well, we used to have fun, but then they made them illegal to even own, so yeah, now you can't do anything fun anymore.
So you can't have 22 tracers? I wonder why. I wonder what it could have been going on in Canada that they decided to make the.
I have no idea.
Huh.
Seems silly to me.
We hardly got a bunch of boxes of them that I bought, and I don't know what to do with them because I don't like shooting them really. I'm always afraid of starting a fire with them. Ideally, we'd go take them to Big Sandy, I guess, and then try to get a thing to shoot, get a lane to shoot at, and then shoot them off at that hill.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We'll just put that 110 round drum in my Ruger, and then just burn them up.
I think I'd rather shoot them since I only have like 40. I'd rather shoot them through my little NEA revolvers. If I'm going to shoot Big Sandy, shooting single action mini revolvers. It's more my style.
That would be, especially if you had a booth right next to a 50.
Did you ever dual wield your NEA?
Definitely.
In order for those to work, is it the interaction with the barrel as the bullet's traveling down that heats them up?
No. They're just like anything else. They're just like a backwards hollow point, I imagine, with some sort of some kind of a burning material, so that as the powder ignites and creates pressure, it also ignites that. So as it's traveling, it takes a certain amount of time for that chemical.
That's what I'm wondering, if the heat of the friction of rubbing against the cylinder as it's going down the barrel is what got its temperature to ignite.
No, it's from the burning powder that creates the pressure.
Okay, so the powder propellant is what lights it on fire then.
Yeah, it gets lit
on fire, but
like the worst case scenario is you get a squib load with a incendiary or a tracer, because then it would just sit in your barrel burning until it ran out of oxygen, I guess.
That would be bad.
I would think so, yeah. But in a 22, how much can there possibly be in there? I don't know if I've even shot the 22s. I must have seen them on the internet or something, people shooting them before, but there can't be that much chemical whatever reserve in there for the to burn. So then I'm sure they're just like a where the 303 or 308s or something, or 30-06 tracers, you can shoot them off and see them for a long time.
I mean, if it got too hot, the lead would just melt and just pour it out the end of the barrel.
That's a good point. I don't know what would happen with that. I've never seen such a thing. So that might actually be a thing where it just burns its own projectile up. Probably turn into a big mess more than like a nice stream of melted lead pouring out the barrel. Unless the barrel was red hot. I definitely wouldn't want to have to clean up after that.
Lead melts at 621.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and for Bob, that's 327.5 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, in other words, the lead would melt before it really had any chance to really damage the barrel, I would think.
Well, all right, the lead melting doesn't remove the amount of chemical that's in there that was designed to be
Right.
Well,
burning.
except the revolver would all run back into the chamber, probably, depending on which way the revolver was tilted up or tilted down. And,
I guess there probably is.
Well, if it didn't leave the barrel and you knew it was an incendiary round, you would just hold the barrel pointing down.
I don't know. You'd have to have a lot of clarity of mind to keep all that, and probably just drop the thing if it was burning.
yeah,
But we
most-
do 38 tracers now that I think about it, out of a little J frame. So I have shot tracers out of a J frame before. So I was just going to ask, they're asking on the YouTube side if it's hard to get Dragon's Breath. And I haven't actually, I don't know if I've seen Dragon's Breath like marketed as that brand name or whatever at gun shows, but I definitely have seen like what they call flamethrower rounds, which would like they should throw out like a shower of sparks or whatever.
I can say if you go to wolfhillammo.com, if it's legal in your state, they will sell it to you and ship it to you.
Well, I was
So-
asking, do you guys have those tables at gun shows where somebody will set up and sell all kinds of exotic ammo, like the 38 tracers and 22 tracers and basically the normal calibers except with tracers? Or
yeah, usually they have cannon fuses and flares and fireworks and all kinds
they'll
of
have
crap.
like the crazy shotgun shells and bolos and dimes and washers and stuff.
Sometimes it's not at every gun show, but yeah, I have seen them.
They wanted to clarify if Bob was shooting at little tiny critters or if he was shooting at people that play golf. Is he shooting at gophers or golfers?
Both.
Probably both.
Gophers, little tiny rodents.
Because, you know, hamsters are not cute at all.
Oh no, hamsters aren't. You ever seen them? They're smelly, furry little things.
So Cycle just threw a thing out there that Dragon's Breath are banned by law in just 3 states, California, Florida, and Illinois, due to their inherent fire hazard. And then you might have hazard fees, I guess. This looks like some boilerplate from the website. You can't use them for military use, but I don't know if they have much military use anyway.
Yeah. I would say they'd use an actual flamethrower if that's what they wanted.
Yeah, or actual ordnance, right? So I guess we'll
yeah,
go on to the next segment of the show. So that'll take us to the second segment where we're going to talk about training classes and what order you might want to take them in. But before we do, we like to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels each day and keep a focus on Gun Channels, which is the place we built a while back. It's a community that's focused on firearms, and we have a lot of fun over there. So this week there's a theme. I'm sure everybody's figured it out by now. Today we're featuring, was it Jbelux? I think that's how I'm saying it.
Yep.
And
From Romania.
yeah, one of our international members from Romania. He's all into the 3D printing, so often he'll jump into the early shows, which I'm guessing is his evening, and then folks point his camera at his 3D printer. And I think he's been building some guns from the Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yep, he builds plastic replicas. He can physically build ones that work, but he can't build them that work legally. So, but I've seen a couple of the models that he's brought up, and he's very. It's amazing what kind of accuracy you get off those printing systems.
He's given us a lot of insight as to which ones to buy too. So a couple of people in the evening chats had been into 3D printing as a hobby. So it's interesting to get some of those people with expertise together, save you some money, and figure out which machine you might want to jump into. All right, well, with that, we will jump into the training segment of the show. So the CCW training class syllabus, order in which specific classes should be taken. So did this come
Before
from?
we go too far, let's take care of some business. The Canadians are coming! The Canadians are coming! Gather your women. The Canadians are coming.
Hey,
That's
that's
right.
not really scary now that I'm in Arizona.
That's right. It's time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. So this one I would think ought not to be too terribly difficult, but one never knows. So, Mr. G-Webs, have you seen the question? And more importantly, have you seen the answer?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, we got a positive yup. All right. This question was sent in by Mr. Ponnery, so thank you, Sean, for doing that. I will read the question twice. So here we go. What is Smith & Wesson's model designation for the 41 Magnum revolvers? What is the Smith & Wesson model designation for the 41 Magnum revolvers?
.327, no.
Super Blackhawk, no.
007, no. 57.
Oh, Chris. Was it Chris that you saw?
Yeah, that's the only correct answer so far.
Okay, yeah, it is Model 57. So, Chris, congratulations. You are our tactical pop quiz winner. You know what to do, but for all the others out there, head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop quiz. Fill out the form, put your first and second choice, and congratulations. You are today's tactical hot shot for today. So thank you.
Did you throw out your back, Dano?
I try, Smeggy and Z set very high standards, and I know I can't replace either one of them, so, the best I can do is a weak third place.
I picture it while Dano's waiting for his rides or whatever, while he's in the car and it's raining. Oftentimes when it's raining, just be in the car going, "Hacha, hacha."
Yep. Practicing for the day when I alone get to do it.
Yep, when he's got the spotlight. So he has to set it all up so that he has to do the show before he's here. Once he's like sabotage Smeggy, text him before the show. Hey, we're starting an hour late today.
Yeah.
Everything in place. Anyway, we're sending our winners over to the patch panel over on our website, dailygunshow.com. We have a bunch of patches over there. We send you over, pick the one you want. We have a form down there where you can tell us where to send it. And it's our way of saying thanks to people that watch the show every day. We do appreciate it. And stay tuned for more of that.
And before we move on, I just want to do a little bit more business. If you happen to be listening to this on YouTube, I'm going to ask if you can take a moment and subscribe to Daily Gun Show on YouTube. We would appreciate it once we get our numbers up there and have some more positive growth. We'll be able to do some more things, hopefully. So, again, if you're listening to this on YouTube, please take a moment and subscribe to Daily Gun Show over on the YouTube platform. So thank you.
And remember, if you request the Biker Bob patch enough times, eventually we might get some more on there.
All right, so now we'll get into the training segment, and we're talking about what order to take classes. So I'm assuming this is for CCW.
Well, isn't this about what should be on the syllabus?
Order in which specific classes should be taken. I'm guessing that means like which classes you should take in what order.
Oh, okay, because I thought it meant like what should be on the syllabus of a CCW training class.
Well, I don't care which way we want to take it. Give us some feedback.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I just need you to point me in a direction.
You want us to tell you where to go?
No, I'm not. I didn't ask you, Bob.
Well, which way do we want to take it?
Let's go order of which the classes should be taken.
All right. Well, I'm going to start out with Masada Yube's Mag 40 then. You get a pretty good introduction to it. You're going to have already taken the CCW class, so I guess that'll be your first thing is get whatever mandatory or not, if it's not mandatory, just take some CCW class that has a good, reviews on the internet or on the forums or the gun shows or at gun shops where you ask about CCW classes. So once you've taken your basic CCW, I'm going to say Mag 40.
Okay, and what is it about the Mag 40 that you feel it would be the go-to thing after any sort of required CCW?
Because you're going to get a good mix of classroom and range, and MOS gives you a good gold standard to base everything else you might take on. So you're going to be taking one of the best classes out there right out the bat. So if you stop there, you've experienced some of the best stuff. You'll have a credible instructor on your, whatever you want to call your resume or whatever, on your credentials. And then again, if you continue on, you'll be able to compare it to a really good class. And if you don't continue on, you've got a really good class under your belt. And
okay,
like
so
take you out on the range, so you'll learn some good stuff. Even if you're starting from zero, you'll learn good stuff. If you're starting from, oh, I've been shooting my whole life and I shoot just fine, you're going to learn good stuff. And it's a pretty, Masada is a hell of a good instructor. He's humorous and knowledgeable, so there's nothing about the class you won't enjoy, really.
So just using myself as an example, I've taken the classroom part of MOS's training, but I have not taken the range portion. What are some examples of things that he does in the range part that I did not experience that you think make him that I should have?
I don't know if you have had any experience on a range with an instructor. So that's one thing, is to get, if you're going to take one class, or if you're taking your first class, that'll get you out onto a range with an instructor and a class situation. So that'll take you to another set of experience. And then as far as the specifics, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I mean, it's 20 hours out there, so it's quite a bit of instruction. You're basically gonna learn some theory and and put into practice some of his suggestions on actual skills, I guess. And so you're going to shoot his way and then experience that, and he'll explain why. And then there's a bit of a competition, so it makes it to where if you're really resistant to learning a specific type of shooting, or just learning something different than what you've already got, or if you're just trying to absorb it, it's not simply repetitive. There's some pace to it, and there's a payoff at the end. It's fun. So and he's an excellent instructor. I mean, he's out there having fun with everybody and keeping it moving. He's got a unique way of being able to get information across while keeping it entertaining and enjoyable. So all that'll be just fun to experience, and then you'll get useful, I guess, data that you can either, again, stop at and it'd be fine, or as you experience more, you'll be able to compare it to it, because it's definitely going to be different than anything you're going to do at Tactical Response, or different than what you might do at a gun sight or a front sight. It's going to be definitely different than what you experience at a local instructor, I'm sure.
So what are some of the mechanical things that a new student should expect to learn on the range portion? Like, I'll just throw some examples out there: stance, grip, things along those lines.
Yeah, Masa is a competitive shooter, and he shoots at a whatever you call, like, a competitive level. He often wins, like, at the national level, or he has won often at a national level. So he brings definitely some, I guess you'd say, sport influenced mechanics into it. Specifically, it's just body mechanics, and I don't know how much does he get into any of that stuff in the class? Is that why you're asking? He basically does.
No, I'm just curious because I don't know.
Well, there's different ways you can go, and there's most of the instructors back in the days would, maybe say bring your gun up to your eye level or something, where Moss is more for consistency, and consistency is on a skeletal situation is like locking and tightening muscles and stuff like that. So he'll have you do more of an isosceles with your shoulders up a lot, and then you're going to bring your ears down to your shoulders, kind of a thing, so that you get a tight kind of shooting stance, but it's for consistency. And it's the concept, if I'm trying to sum up a lot of instruction years ago, is to constrict. So to play with the whole idea of how your two hands are going to constrict, and under stress, is to make your muscles constrict and to not fight that, I guess, to not use a shooting position that requires you to use certain muscles that under stress might be more down on the line of priority. So to let the muscles do what they're going to do and shoot from that angle, he'll have you do like a death grip, I forget what he calls it, a really, really tight grip on the gun, for example. He didn't get into any of that in the lecture part, but he'll have you grip the gun so tight that you're going to see your serrations or your grip pattern in your skin. He wants you to be gripping on that thing so hard when you're in training, for two reasons: to simulate again the conditions you might be in under stress. The first time you have to deal with a lethal force incident that is going to have repercussions for the rest of your life and potentially your kids and your other family's lives. You're going to have quite a bit of pressure in just a couple of moments out of nowhere, and to expect that you're going to be able to just casually revert to your best day of training is not his philosophy. So he has you do this like really strong grip, and as a result, you can shoot really well. I mean, I didn't shoot that way, and I tried to be a good student and shoot the way that they explained it. I talked about the story before, specifically about, I think his name is Chris or David, who like said, no, do this. And I ended up shooting second or third best in the class. Almost beat Moss, except that this one sheriff guy shot way better than me. But so for example, holding that gun super strong, it does give you a really consistent, strong foundation, strong platform to shoot from, which gives you good hits.
So let me ask you a question in regards to that super strong grip on it. I mean, at some point, if I'm holding a pistol or simple garden hose, it doesn't matter, or a broom handle, I can grip it so hard that my hands will eventually start shaking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a death grip on a snake, like you're holding a snake by its head.
He doesn't fight that. He lets you shoot when it's shaky. So yeah, so I definitely encourage you to take that class. So there's other instructors that'll get into that too, but it's definitely not a marksmanship style. Here's how to.
Right. So he does want that strong of a grip sort of a thing, or that's
Yes.
what he's looking to teach. Okay.
Yes. Yep, and shooting through that.
Gotcha.
Crush grip, correct?
Yep, that's what he calls it. It's like if you ever shake Bob's hand, it's like you'll go, damn.
That's what I wanted to ask, is when Moss shakes your hand, does he shake it where he applies extra pressure, or is he nice to you? And I shouldn't even say nice to you. I mean, does he just shake your hand normal?
He shakes it normal.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to see him give a crush grip handshake one time, just to see, just to see.
But the one thing I would add to our topic, and welcome to the show, Z. I didn't realize you had popped in. I was looking at another page. Is something that we often overlook, and that's people that, whether it's a girlfriend, a wife, a son or a daughter, that for whatever reason is now decided to get into shooting, is the possibility of taking an NRA basic pistol. And because we often assume that everybody knows that stuff. And of course, the worst thing you can do is assume that anybody knows anything. Let them, they know what they know, and to a very limited degree, they kind of know what they don't know.
Well, some states are going to require you to do that anyway, no matter what. Some states.
Right. And that sort of thing may be encompassed in your CCW class, but in many states there is no class. So that's why I'm saying, so for not knowing whether it's going to be in your CCW class or not, you may wish to include that as step 1. Depending on the background you're coming from.
So Z, you drop it in the middle here. We're talking about in what order you might take classes. I see we got DB Cooper out there. He's taken quite a few classes and paid attention. Tony is an instructor out there, and he's mentioned NRA basic pistol is a good starting point. As a CCW person, I would say if you're coming from 0, then I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
NRA pistol will give you a good basic from 0 to hero.
April 20th, G-Webs agreed with Dano.
What?
Are you marking that down?
I didn't realize Dano had said that NRA pistol was a good idea, because here's my problem with NRA pistol.
Nice.
No, seriously though, for regular people that have been around guns their whole life, you're gonna go numb with an NRA pistol class. It is so.
There's gonna be a little bit of the Charlie Brown wah 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 wah, but like I was saying, like I live in a state where if you would like to purchase, and of course this is not every state, this is not even preferable, but in my state, if you would like to purchase a pistol, you have to have taken either the NRA basic pistol safety certification course, or have been trained like law enforcement, and or I think there is also an exemption for military, I believe. And it's not that it's an exemption, it's that their training that they have received is, I don't want to say equivalent, but acceptable in lieu of the NRA class. But I had a hunter safety class decades before I ever had that other class, you know what I mean?
So since
and having, I'm sorry, what's that, G?
Well, you're saying the classes in the order that you took them?
Yeah. Because when I took my hunter safety course, that was in Michigan when I lived there as a kid. And then when I moved to Hawaii, that was where the requirements changed.
So a lot of places are either going to require hunter safety as to go hunting as a kid, or to get your like FOID. I think you have to take it when you're a kid, or if you're just in scouts or something, you take it because it's cool to take it. So a lot of kids are going to experience a hunter safety course, which I'd recommend any kid, even if they never go hunting, right? Because it's just good wilderness survival and keeping your head in the game if you ever get stuck out in the cold, which is a possibility up there, right? So anywhere up there. So anyway, if a kid's already had some basic hunter safety, would you then include the NRA pistol, or would you say keep going, just go straight to CCW?
Well, I don't really think that the pistol class, I don't think it's going to hurt the person, so to speak. I mean, other than the fact, you know, that it costs money. So I mean, I understand if that's a detracting factor or something like that. Because when I did take hunter safety, it was mostly about long guns. You know, it was shotguns and rifles for the most part. I don't. Now, granted, it was a long time ago, but I really don't remember them talking too much about pistols. Now, growing up though, where I grew up, revolvers and semi-autos, I did shoot them as a kid and then a young adult and stuff like that. It was only when I really moved out here that any of that stuff stopped. So, I mean, I took it just because I wanted to play by the rules and, you know, to be able to permit to purchase out here was one of the reasons. And because we still do not have concealed carry out here, or its May issue, excuse me.
You were right the first time. In the real world, you don't have it.
Yeah, basically, may never,
truly.
Right? In Hawaii, may never issue.
But I've taken NRA basic pistol, and I thought I've mentioned that before. That was actually other than when I was very young in the Army, the first class I ever took. And then a year after that, I took a weekend combat pistol 1 is what they called it. It was 10 hours on one day, 10 hours on the next day, sort of a thing through a local trainer. Was not particularly satisfied with that. And then the year after that is when I took, which was last year, when I took the MOS 20 classroom training experience in Wisconsin. And then, of course, I got one coming up here in a few weeks.
I do want to ask, would we all agree that, and this I might be setting myself up for a fall here, would we all agree in that a CCW or a CHL or whatever it's called in your state, that is not necessarily the same, and I shouldn't even say not necessarily the same, that it is not the same as like a fighting pistol class or a MAG 20 class? Because at the end of the class, it's not like you receive your state's CCW license. Is that correct?
They have nothing to do with each other. Regular pistol.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
From an instructor is barely going to go into any specific laws because the class is made for a national audience. So it might go into generalities of theory of legal, but it's not going to go into any specific laws. Where CCW class is literally going to, that's what it's for, is to go into your specific laws and situations when you can and can't use a lethal force and all the other things. And then sometimes a little bit of basic pistol. Depending on if it's like a 16-hour class, it's still mandatory in some states, then they might have a lot of time in which they might go into a little bit of tactics, but whatever. But it's typically not going to be your, ideally it's somebody who's been to a Masada U class or something decent and, you know, is just, you know, offering a version of that type of information. But yeah, that's definitely not going to be your class where you get your tactics.
Unless you were lucky enough to have a 20-hour class. I was lucky.
Is that how long yours is? I thought it was 16.
No, it's 20, 10 hours each day.
Wow. All right, so then Tony is saying that he'd recommend basic rifle, then personal protection inside the home, then personal protection outside the home, then go to tactical response fighting pistol. That's a lot. I don't know if I could recommend all that. I guess
I mean, I like the itinerary that he's got, though. I mean, you know, money aside or whatever, I definitely like the idea of it.
Yeah, I definitely like those classes.
Cost too much, I don't think, because most NRA instructors aren't charging a ton of money for those classes. So you're probably talking like $50 for those classes or something. I don't think they're going to cost $100 each.
Fighting pistol is set up as a starting class, not as a intermediate or advanced class.
Right. It's definitely one you could take. It could definitely be chosen as somebody's first class after their CCW class, or even in lieu of, and if they didn't, like if they lived in a constitutional carry or a no carry, you know, just do whatever you want state. Just take that class, period. And you'd get plenty out of it. I would definitely understand somebody picking that as their first / only class. It can hold its own. All right, so Squib keeps asking, what about shotgun classes? I wouldn't even consider it unless you wanted to get better at hunting or better at the sport, because you can definitely learn from somebody who knows the sport, because you can game that game for sure. I don't think I don't know if there is a class on tactical shotgunnery, really.
Went for competition.
There's definitely
shooting
competition shotgunnery, but I don't know if I even remember seeing too many. I mean, I don't seek them out, so maybe I'm just missing them. But I don't think there's many shotgun.
Well, and gee, I can definitely see where you're coming from on there. You know, whether there's a need or not a need, just because of the practicality or whatever. But I think that, you know, at some point in time, if you know, say you've already taken, and I'm not going to say all the classes because I don't know. I know that you can't take all of the classes from everybody. It just doesn't work like that. But, you know, there's a point in time where you kind of well-rounded your, you know, secondary education, so to speak. And, you know, you kind of got a chance to go take it with somebody that knows what they're doing with a shotgun. I mean, I would at least consider it, but I would definitely not say that it's any part of necessary or, some, you know, like mandatory or anything like that.
So Squib's asking on the gun channel site, is there some sort of requirement to become an instructor, quote unquote? Well, no, unless you're talking about NRA instructors, there's definitely like a code of conduct and a way that you can use your credentials. They don't want you putting your NRA credentials on goofy stuff. So there are some parameters where you can use your credentials and where you can, when you can use the logo and stuff like that. And to be up to date, to be certified, you do have to keep current, keep fresh every so often. So aside from their own standards that they impose on their own their own certified instructors, there's nothing that I'm aware of anywhere that really is a standard or something that you use to become judged, other than, like I said out there, the court of public opinion. It's pretty difficult to run any kind of a class nowadays off the internet, not so people don't know of you or aware of your stuff. So if you're doing something totally Yahoo or weird, I don't think you're going to last very long. At least you're not going to get very many students, because people are going to figure out real quick, through comments and through course reviews, that you're not offering valid stuff.
Yeah, with the nature of the internet, just think of like when there's bad news on a new gun that comes out, and how quickly that spreads through the gun guy world, so to speak. That if there's an instructor, a national instructor that's going around or has a home base, whatever, but draws people in nationally, and if there's something not right happening there, or they're not doing a good job, that news is going to spread like wildfire.
Well, and I will say that in a land of free will, that they can hear the news. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to believe it. I mean, each person is their own, right?
As much as it doesn't mean it's true.
There's that.
I mean, people make mistakes / accidents all the time. That doesn't mean that that person from that point forward is considered permanently untrustworthy for as long as they shall live. No, it means they're human. Whether that's a student, or whether that's an instructor, or whether that's the owner of the organization, talking about three very different things.
Now, DB makes a point that you should teach yourself and learn from your pappy. Well, what if your pappy left when you was knee high to a grasshopper, son? What do you do then?
You watch Westerns?
Oh.
It's funny. That's exactly what I did.
Or your pappy's a lefty.
That's where that "Oh Cisco" and "Oh Pancho" thing comes from.
Well, it's a shame. I see a lot of people with discouraging opinions about it, or discouraged opinions about training, and I'm not sure why. It's definitely something that I didn't seek out. I became aware of it back in 2005, and a couple of the ranges out here, actually, is tactical response, and they were shooting out of vehicles. And at first I thought, well, that sounds cool, right? I want to learn, or I want to understand why, or how I could get into this, where I get to shoot out of a vehicle, because that just sounds cool. So it was basically, from what I understood, police or contractors who wanted to improve their skills or whatever would take these classes from instructors. So I became aware of it, but I didn't think it was something obtainable or whatever. I was running some online forums at the time, and we got spammed basically by some guy from Front Sight who kept saying, "Oh, join Front Sight" or whatever. Every time there was a question, he'd say, "Oh, you can learn about that at Front Sight." So at some point, being the moderator of the forum, I said, "What are you doing? Like, pay for this, or quit putting Front Sight and stuff in here," or something like that. Then he said, would you like to come up? So anyway, long story short, me and Scott went up there for a week of their, I think it was like 5-day or 4-day introduction to handgun or something, whatever their basic introductory.
Like Ignacio himself, or Ignacio? I don't remember.
No, he runs it like a business. So he's just the face or whatever, or the main guy, but he's rarely ever there. The guy that contacted me was just Doug. He was just one of the guys that works there. He's worked there since the beginning. Anyway, so they invited us up. They gave us basically, actually, I think they even paid for the hotel. It was the first time we ever got anything cool for free off the internet. So we said, okay, great, let's go up there and see what it's like. So we went up there and took the class or whatever, and that got me hooked. It was just really squared away. It was really interesting. I never even thought about having organized, thought out curriculum about situations that you might need to use lethal force. So as someone at the time, I was new to carrying with a permit or whatever. I had carried when I went hunting or fishing or something, but just because you can in Arizona. And then once I figured out I could get a CCW, I got one when I was working at a gun shop for a little while, and started figuring out there's a lot more to this. So anyway, I went to that, and then I checked out one of the tactical response classes that was coming out down here, and from that point on, I was hooked. So I know that with all the flash and sizzle, there seems to be associated with them on the internet, which I don't know if it's even due or not to actual stuff they're doing. I haven't watched most of their videos. I know that there's a lot of people out there that people suggest they're talking about, but if you're talking about specifically tactical response, I highly encourage you to check it out in person before you make some kind of opinion about it, because again, this wasn't something I was seeking out. It was something that I was exposed to and really enjoyed. It's just taken firearms theory, I guess, to the next level, and
To the practical execution of it, right? It's taking it from theory to practice, to
more than that.
to
There's a lot of
physically doing
classroom.
it.
There's a lot of classroom, and there's a lot of like focus on the actual situation and not a bunch of glory bullshit that you get sometimes from people who aren't as interested in your long-term success. So they are there for your long-term success. They want their students to gain from that class. So it's not just to learn a bunch of moves or techniques. I mean, that's hardly even the class. The class is mindset. It's hard, again, that's why I'm always saying all this, because I don't get paid by James or nothing. But I've taken quite a few classes, and there's lots of them that'll get into various techniques and ways of doing things, methods. Tactical response is mindset. It's basically getting the extract of the mindset portion out of the Masada Ayub class in a different way from James. And that's getting it from your uncle versus getting it from your dad, right? It's getting it from your uncle versus getting it from your grandfather, I guess, be the difference. So you're going to get it from your grandfather, and it's going to be good advice, and it's going to be sage wisdom or whatever. When you get it from your uncle, it's a little bit cruder, but it's to the point, and it's the same advice, just given to you in a more like, here, I'm your fucking uncle, and this is the way it is kind of way. That's the difference between them, but they're both giving you core stuff. And if people are going to blow that off because they think James Yeager wears tight t-shirts and he makes people think outside the box, and that you disagree with that, then you're selling yourself, you're missing something, because the other instructors that you do it are going to go to are going to try to tell you some way to hold the gun or something like that, which it's not.
Well, would you also agree that if you're distracted by his tight t-shirt, or if that's what forms your opinion about the thing, that you're probably missing the important parts?
Oh, that's
I would say that if you're focused on the instructor personally rather than the material you're there to cover, you probably shouldn't be in the class.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just thinking that you might not be getting out of it everything that you could be.
No, you're spending a lot of money.
People seem to think you go to your tactical response class specifically to learn some kind of ninja roll or some sort of way to manipulate your gun in a flashy way, or some sort of like pledging allegiance to polymer or something. But it's just super practical. It's just super practical, and then mindset. And in fact, they'll tell you, like, pretty sure they do this the entire time, because last time I saw one do this, they just say, I don't care how you shoot the gun. If you can get your hits down here, then keep getting them down here. But now think about this when you're doing it. Now they're just taking it to a different place than what most people think you're going to experience, at least from the comments we're seeing, where people seem to be overly concerned about the techniques and stuff.
And what is wrong with a tight t-shirt?
But anyone, if you're going, you're spending a lot of money, a lot of time to take these classes. These are not inexpensive things. And if you're getting distracted because of the either the perceived ego, the way somebody's saying something, you're wasting your own time when maybe you best take a different class from someone else, if that seems to bother you.
Or if James's tight t-shirt is distracting you, maybe find a female instructor.
I'm just saying that maybe a different instructor, because not all people like the same instructor, and that's fine. We all have different tastes.
And that I've also said this before, when we talk about CCW class or taking tactical classes or any type of situation where you are learning something from another person, you kind of need to go in, and it's kind of like martial arts. You need to go in with your glass empty. Because what can you learn if your glass is already full?
Right.
If you know everything, why are you going and taking the class? If you're taking the class just so you can argue with the instructor about why you do this, you do that wrong, you do this, you do that.
Yeah.
You can't. It's a waste of your time, the instructor's time, and money if you go in with a full cup already.
As well as the other.
Basically what I said.
Right on. So I don't know if we need to keep going. We're not trying to sell anybody. We're just trying to talk about there are some incremental ways to approach if you do want to get better at either the skill of manipulating your gun or I guess the overall concept of carrying a gun. And I imagine for some people, it's been a while now for me, and I was sort of in the gun culture, so it wasn't probably as weird a tradition. But if you don't have a bunch of friends or family that are already gun people and you're carrying for the first time, it might be comforting, it might be useful to get some additional time in a classroom with other people, right? I mean, you're basically paying for however long that class is, probably 16 hours or more. That's 16 hours or more. You're with people probably from your area. A couple of people might be traveling, but more often than not, the people are going to live right around you. And that's time you're going to get when you're stuffing mags or when you're eating lunch or when you're setting up or whatever, that you can ask them where they shoot and, you know, what forums they might be in, or if they like gun channels. You know, you can get a lot more out of a class, especially when you're there, than just the actual downloaded knowledge from the guy. And like DP says, people that are going to be most adamantly against it are never even going to go. So we're really just trying to offer this for the people that are thinking about putting some scratch and some time into such an endeavor, and hopefully saving you some effort. I mean, I definitely have taken a lot of classes that aren't available anymore, but from the reviews I get from others and from the kind of just from listening to some of the instructors talk, I get the impression that still the two of the best ones out there are going to be Masada Yub and his 40 or else his 20, which is the classroom, or else the classroom and the range, and then tactical response fighting pistol.
Yep. But yeah, you know, not everybody's in the training classes, and that's okay. It's however you enjoy firearms is great. I happen to enjoy training in addition and being able to do things better, in addition to going to the range and just plain having fun. You know, other people enjoy collecting little tiny guns. I mean, we all have our thing.
All right, so then we'll move into the gun shop of the day. All right, so I get to go to the gun shop today, and every day we try to feature a gun shop. One of the reasons I started doing the show on the daily basis so that we can feature a new gun shop every day. And a lot of this week we've been getting people or shops sent in from emails. This one though I just posted in here because Bob and I had planned on being in Colorado actually for this couple of weeks, but the plans got changed around. And if we were going to be up there, I planned to check out some of the gun shops in Colorado. This one is up in Colorado Springs, and it's the Ava from the We Like Shooting show has a gun shop up there. So maybe Bob can still check this one out on his way through there as he leaves Arizona.
Yeah, actually that'd be kind of cool. Where is it again?
Well, it says Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs?
There's a map, yeah.
Oh, I can probably hit that.
My screen sharing? Yeah. So
I meant gun shop, right
in the middle of it. What? What'd you say, Bob? Yeah, okay. So I don't know. You guys have seen We Like Shooting before? The podcast?
Of course.
So this is show or shop. I don't know if they'll let us do a satellite view. Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't need to see if she walked out the front door or nothing.
Well, I want to see. Looks like she's got 4 or 5 air conditioners up there. She must be doing pretty good for herself. That's all I'm saying. That's what it would look like, I guess, if you drove
Let's
up.
go
to it.
inside.
It won't let you go inside. This looks like maybe before it was set up, though. I wonder where they put that blur over there. Cerebral Palsy Foundation? Maybe they moved. They don't want people going the wrong place. Anyway.
And that's what got blanked out? Really? That's interesting.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if that's a pretty big organization. If they're down the street and they don't want people accidentally going here, I could see them asking Google to do that. But they didn't
okay.
here, so maybe it's just a weird camera merge glitch. Anyway, I guess we don't have their signage, but that looks like where the building is. Looks like they got a sweet van out front. That's always a good sign. A cool place.
I also had some hoodied person walking out of the parking lot next to him, to your left.
I'll enhance on this guy. Let's see what he's doing here. This guy has got a uniform on, probably from one of these restaurants.
I just couldn't tell what was going on there.
Heading over to Arby's, I suspect. Drinking out of something with a straw.
America's roast beef, yes, sir.
I'm figuring most of the guys in this Taekwondo thing are keeping an eye out what's going on in the area.
They keep the neighborhood safe, unless they're Cobra Kai, and then, I mean...
Yeah, then they're encouraged.
Sweep the leg.
What do we got going on over here? Looks like get some glasses done. Anyway, I guess we don't want
Nothing wrong with going for the knee.
Anyhow, Bob probably will go by and check it out, and we'll know more about it. But otherwise, I just think it's kind of cool. It seems like she runs the shop herself. I think she probably needs to see more shops out there.
He's going to pick up one of them free self-defense keychains.
Ooh, yeah. Probably wouldn't let me back across the border with it.
I think if you scroll down.
I might defend myself. That's not
Speaking
a lot
of
of
classes, though, she does have a couple of classes known from watching her Instagram or whatever. So basic pistol as well as I think there's one in here for like a female only one.
Looks like she's an NRA instructor as well.
Looks like it. All these are NRAs.
Very cool.
No, I like the. Did you see that one that was at the very end? G, the Bullseye Training. What was it? The Bullseye Training private classes or something like that.
Oh, really?
I think it was the class that was all the way on the right and on the bottom. I just like the bullseye guarantee theory or whatever. That's all.
We all know about you and Bullseye.
How many instructors can guarantee that you'll train until you shoot a bullseye? Well, they will. This private lesson includes an hour or more on the range, unlimited answers to questions, tips, and techniques that will improve your shooting skills and guarantee to feel more confident in your accuracy. The lesson doesn't end until you shoot a bullseye. This includes range fees, targets, firearms, and ammunitions are not included. However, gun rentals can be purchased at the range. Doesn't say how much.
Or probably, what is it? It's probably according to how much either time it takes or what is required to end up getting you to that point.
So if you're like Bob, you're just looking for something to do all day, you could be like, well, I'll try that one. How much is that for the day? I mean, how much is it for that class?
Is it money
I
back?
just want Bob to know that if he does disrespect her, there is a chance she may just shoot him. So just be careful, Bob.
I'm not going to disrespect any woman with a gun.
You can just shoot sloppy all day and be in that free air conditioning, hanging out. Not getting out.
Hey, can I bring my dog in?
Yeah, I'm gonna just bring my dog in if that's okay. Keep shooting sloppy.
You just get Charlie one of them cute little vests and you say, no, that's my service dog right there.
Yeah. As he lunges all over the place trying to stick his nose in women's crotches. Yeah, good service dog.
All right, so then I guess that was the gun shop of the day. If you've got a gun shop in your area that's cool or interesting or unique with anything, then consider taking a couple of pictures of it. You'd more than likely have a camera on your phone, so ask if it's all right to do so, and then take some pictures, post them on the Instagram or whatever, your blog or over on gun channels. Then link us to them in an email, dailygunshow@gmail.com, and we're happy to spread the word about those interesting and unique gun shops out there. We do it every single day.
We do.
Right. I guess we have Gun Channel story time again. So if everybody wants to grab some
what-
chocolate, we will turn the fireplace on here. We'll all gather around.
Yeah.
It's hot as shit here, though. I don't want to gather around the fireplace. I want to gather around like the big
Can we
chocolate.
get around the air conditioner today, please?
Seriously.
Yeah,
So anyway, it's you host
warm
it, we
here.
host it, which is probably good because we need to start doing this more often again. So we got Pink out there who posts a fairly consistent lobby every single evening, and everybody's getting a little too accustomed to that, and we're not even hanging out in it anymore. But for years, for about 2-3 years, well, 2 years at least, 2 solid years, we didn't have anybody who was, doing that on the regular. So it would just be sort of a random up for grabs who was around that night and who was interested in hosting a chat. I don't think there was anything issue with cost. I know for me it did end up being an issue with cost. I only have a certain amount of internet, I guess, and I do internet for a living, so I use a certain amount of it. So whenever I was running a whole other lobby, basically just to have a lobby open, I started getting notices from my cable company saying, quit doing that, or I'll start paying a lot more for your cable. So that's when I started saying, if you host it, we post it. So there is this ability, anybody that wants to can start up a lobby like we have right now, and over on YouTube, and then head over to Gun Channels and either post it in the lobby or a channel that you create, or on somebody else's channel if they want you to post it there, and host one of the conversations. So that's a little story when you see that coming up in the chat room. That's usually because Pink isn't there to post one, or if he went to work and his internet went down or something and we don't have a chat open, it's because we're looking for somebody to host a lobby or to host any kind of a chat. So that's the story behind it, and anybody that wants to participate can do so at any time.
Yep. That's a pretty benign story. There's no seedy underbelly to that one, really.
That one was kind of tame and too simple. I like some of the more complicated, convoluted stories.
Yeah, but think about it, though. That story right there is one of the most important bases or factors in Gun Channels continuing the way it has and the way it will.
That's
Yeah.
true. It's one of the stories that actually made made Gun Channels this thing where it's just almost 24/7 now.
Yeah, seriously. And that's, yeah, exactly. It started getting people like Pink to keep the room open all the time. All right, so that'll take us into the next segment of the show, which I guess will be the movie of the day, 49th Parallel. Anybody have a chance to see it? Talk about it a little bit.
I did not. We did talk about it a little bit yesterday, so I think I got an idea what's going on.
Yeah, I saw it,
See?
not that many years ago, but yeah, it's an interesting story, but it is one of those 1940s. I hesitate to call it a docudrama, but it was based on what if these U-boat sailors escaped, and there were.
You mean there is a reason they call it a British propaganda film, Bob?
Yeah, that's probably why. But I mean, it did happen. I mean, one German sailor did actually escape from a Canadian prisoner of war camp and make it back to Germany. So I mean, I wouldn't say it's based on real facts, because it wasn't. But I mean, it's feasible in that it did actually happen. One guy did actually make it back. I think 2 or 3 escaped, and one guy actually made it all the way back to Germany. So yeah, it's an interesting concept that they thought they could, if they found someone who spoke German in Canada, that those people would automatically be on their side. It turned out they weren't.
It says on Wikipedia that despite the title, no scene in the film is set at the 49th parallel. The only scene that's set on the border is at Niagara Falls, which is further south.
Well, that's funny, because I thought they were going the other way with that. That's interesting.
I guess the 49th parallel is the dividing line between Canada and us.
More or less.
Oh, no
yeah.
kidding.
It says on the main movie thing, not suitable for general exhibition. So what is it? Is it a violent movie or something?
Well, it had some, I mean, because they're showing the Nazis to be Nazis. So, yeah, you wouldn't want to show it to your little kids, at least back in the day. Nowadays, it would be so tame, it's not even funny.
says it was picked up for American release in 1942.
Yeah.
So it really is a wartime film then, really, yeah?
That's
Mhm.
before the war, no?
No, because it was about captured. Well, it was before you guys got into the war, but it wasn't
Yeah.
before the war.
It wasn't
The war
really
started in 39, right?
just a skirmish until we got in.
Uh-huh. But
Nice.
World War One was, right? It wasn't a war until America was involved.
Just think. Bob would have been eating sauerkraut.
Oh, please. All that would have happened is eventually they might have taken England, but then Australia and Canada would have taken all the refugees, and we would have just gone over and kicked fucking Hitler's ass back all the way to Germany. And then same thing would have ended up, it would have just took till the 50s.
It says on Wikipedia, the depiction of Canadians is stereotypical. Brave Mounties, decorated Indians, Scottish accented Hudson Bay Company men, and overwrought French Canadians.
Yeah, it's true.
No, that sounds accurate.
The director deliberately used the peaceful diversity of Canada to contrast with the fanatical worldview of the Nazis. This worldview was also played up to frighten American audiences to bring America into the war. So this was a propaganda film to try to make us feel bad for the Canadians, I guess, who were getting beat up by these Nazis, and then go, we should go kick the shit out of the Nazis for them.
Right?
Yeah, that's probably why the Canadians didn't like it that much. Because we were already over there kicking the Nazis' ass.
This film was the most popular movie at the British box office in 1941. How about that?
Well, you know, the weird part is
That's interesting.
the Brits know even less about Canada than you guys do.
I don't think the king would have liked hearing you say that, Bob. You better take a knee and think about it.
Yeah, well, the king can kiss my ass. I don't believe in those people. I think they're a bunch of perverts and lowlifes. That whole royal family. It's supposed to be my family. Was supposed to be the royal family, the Jameses. That was my grandmother's maiden name.
So, note
We
to
have now not only driven off
story time
the track,
tells us
we
about
rode it right off of the trestle and into the crevasse.
future Gun Channel story time. Bob tells us about how he should have been the king of England. His family.
Yep.
Bob. Here we go. Prince Bob of England. Right here.
King Bob. King Bob.
Well, you got to be a prince first, no?
Well, yeah.
Just kill his dad off right at the beginning. So King Bob of England.
That's for a while, so, hey, I would be king. I would actually, right now, no, my brother would be. He's older than me. Mind you.
But you would have killed him, probably.
More than that. Yeah. Well, he is smaller than me, so, yeah. I would have won.
All right, so it looks like on June 8th, we'll be hearing the story of King Bob of England.
Well, actually, that side of the family has some really interesting stuff.
There you go.
And then,
Kind of stuff. You can't write this kind of stuff.
yeah, sometimes it just happens. It just falls right into your lap.
So do we have a gun of the day? There's nothing written in here.
Yeah, there was. Oh, crap. No, there wasn't because I was busy all day.
Yep.
Driving to Arizona.
So let's talk about Bob's adventures then, since you drove past the very large array.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome as I keep saying it is, or what?
Yeah, it was startling in its size. You can actually pull in, there's a visitor center, but
Did you go in there? Of course not.
I didn't. I was just running late. So I thought,
Hurry.
yeah, but I drove
You
in.
went to SETI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Large array is all these giant things from the movie Contact, which Matt hates so much. But you can literally just drive up. If Bob wouldn't have been in such a hurry, he could have just drove up to the middle of all this because there's nothing they can do. There's no plan.
I drove up to the visitor center. Right?
That array is in many movies, not just Contact, by the way. Just so you know.
I just like it's right off the highway, right? So I just drove in and looked at all these god awful huge fucking
I think it's in 2010. Like it's literally in a bunch of movies because it's an awesome set, or not set, but
It's legit. I have proof of it. It is a real thing. So they're on railroad cars. They're huge though. They're the size of buildings. Like here's a regular building that they go into. I don't know how to. You got to see cars next to it, I guess. Anyway, they're huge, and then they're on the giant railroad tracks, so they can scoot them all around the desert, basically. Just a giant valley that they're in. The thing is, every once in a while, you can drive past them. They don't really take pictures of it when they're all spread out. This is what it looks like when they're spread out. You can't see shit because they just look like a bunch of different buildings and out in the middle everywhere. But
yeah, no, they were all pretty much grouped together when I was there, or 20 or 30 of them were anyway.
yeah, it's pretty freaking awesome.
so this is just on the desert between Albuquerque and Phoenix, really. And you said you drove past that, and that's a pretty nice place to drive. It's fairly cool. There's stuff to look at, just trees and stuff.
Yeah, there is really nothing. I mean, there's trees, there's cows, there's some hills, lots and lots of hills.
To get you interested, and the scenery changes a little bit compared to the other way of driving down here, which is just plain old New Mexico boring desert.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, I don't like the freeways anymore. I'm pissed off because it blew my tire up. But
So Bob's negligence.
No, Bob, the highway did not blow up your tire. You did.
Mean old highway did it to Bob.
well, yeah, that mean old highway. But anyway, I just decided I'd rather drive slower anyway, and like you say, I get to see more because there are some really beautiful vistas when you're driving along. It's just, and plus the road's not just this straight.
So wait, where's the Painted Desert and all that stuff? Petrified Forest. That's in Arizona?
Kind of.
That's in New Mexico.
It's in the Four Corners.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay. I'm just, because when I had driven through there, you're just saying that like there's nothing. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, there is and there isn't, depending on which way you're going.
But no, it's a much nicer drive going this way. I think I've come through here before. I don't know. It seems like I maybe came down here through this because I seem to remember Shoho, or at least remember that name.
Pretty sure you went.
Was coming down last year or something, but it kind of looked familiar.
So if this is Arizona, right? This is Albuquerque where Bob was. The very large array is down here, right in here. So Bob did take 40, which is how you get to Flagstaff and LA and Vegas. He went down towards El Paso and then took a right on 60, which is going to take him through the middle of kind of where Huck used to live, over where you go deer hunting and stuff all the time, to the Apaches. And if you're talking about the Painted Desert, you got to go up to the Navajo and Hopi, up to the Four Corners between Utah and Arizona.
We came down through Colorado and then through Flagstaff and then down to Phoenix when I ended up coming through that way.
Yeah, so this is the Painted Desert over here, and then Four Corners is right there. And then mine is up in here somewhere.
When I go back I'm going to go back up and kind of try, if I can, cut Colorado corner to corner kind of thing.
You can't. Well, you could leave Albuquerque and go up through the reservation, but you can't drive on the reservation. So you're going to go up through Farmington, I guess, and then Durango, and then go up here, I guess, to Grand Junction, then go across to here, and then over to here.
Yeah, that's what I want to try. Well, it depends on where that gun shop is in Colorado. I want to hit that for sure.
Well,
that's Colorado Springs. Yeah, so.
I don't know how far Denver and Colorado Springs. It looks like that's about an hour and a half apart.
Yeah, see, that ain't shit, though.
Yeah, that ain't much.
When you're driving as much as I am. It's like after I left San Antonio, and was partway to Albuquerque, I was like, shit, I should have just gone down and seen that because, it's like 2 hours, or a couple of 100 miles, so 4 hours. It's like nothing. So, yeah, now I'm feeling like an idiot, but oh well. Not the first time.
You'll be back. You'll be back.
Oh, I intend on that. And then next year, when I go down that way, I think I might even just go straight to Texas and then hang out for, because when the weather's nicer, and hang out for a bit with Edge and actually hang out with him a bit instead of just going.
Man, you haven't even been to Texas when it's hot or humid yet, Bob. You don't even know. You
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
It was
Well,
hot.
we have an actual question coming in from the YouTube side.
What?
From Diecaster. If we ever hear from outer space, should we answer back?
Hell yeah.
I don't know. That's a valued question. Because here's the thing: what did we hear? What was the message?
Well, the thing is, though, we have been broadcasting since the 1940s. So they've figured out how far those signals have gone out. And they've gone out there a long ways. Because our first TV broadcasts were in the 30s, late 30s. Our first TV broadcast went out. And before that, radio has been radiated out. I mean, radiate. So we've been pumping signals out there for a long time. So anyone who's got any kind of ability to pick them up, much like we do, would have got them already. If they're
No, but that's not the question. The question was, is if we received the message from them, do we answer?
Well, what's the message?
That's what I just said.
Okay. Well, I wasn't listening to you. Right.
I mean, say something and we'll kill you. Nope, nobody home. Nobody here. Dave's not here, man.
Moon, you still here? What do you think?
What's going on? What's the question?
Bob was at the DLA trying to hook up his Wi-Fi, accidentally hooked up to the antennas over there, like in the movie Contact, and then got a message from space. Should we respond to that message from space, from aliens?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we'll be long gone by the time they get the message, so it's on our future generations' hands then.
Rick could be the Borg. That's my concern. So basically, like the first Nigerian prince that contacts us from outer space, we're gonna be like, hell yeah! Here's our.
And how do we know that message didn't come from the other dark side of the moon or something? You know what I mean? Like, who's to say that they're not just they know you're home and they're knocking on the door just to see if you'll answer, so it's easier for them to jack you? You know what I mean? Home invasion style.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're just going to fall for the first scam from outer space? Like, where you know nothing from the internet?
Again, I stand by it. Depends on what the message was.
Yeah. Yeah, if the message is, say that again and we're going to come kick your ass, well, then, yeah, don't answer.
I mean, free ammo, get in the van. There's going to be a few people getting in the van, G.
Yeah. Got to teach your kids it's not just candy. If they offer free ammo, don't get in the van either. Can you help me find my puppy? I've lost my puppy, especially if they're in a white van.
So we are watching the chat, but if you're just talking about meat and honey, that doesn't really relate to what we have been talking about necessarily. Well, getting it back to the thing then, we have a gun history. Did Dano put this in, or did one of you guys put this in here? This gun history
Wasn't me.
Was not me.
It seems like something Bob would put in there.
No. That seems more like something Dano would put in there.
So it says Castro announces something boat lift.
Miriam.
Yeah. Was that why they sent all their criminals to us? To the Americans? To you guys?
Say again?
Guys.
Are you talking about Tony Montana?
Talked about, I guess, sometime when Cuba stuck all their criminals on a boat and sent them to us.
That's exactly what time that was.
Okay.
Good job, Moon.
That's what I just said.
Well, Moon was right and you're wrong. So there it is.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just putting history stuff.
I mean, Bob, just know that you're only wrong because you are Canadian, though.
Yeah,
I mean, and Moon's American, so I mean.
One of these days, you're going to be in Texas when I'm down there visiting. One of these days, one of these years.
Right by default.
We'll go shooting it. Now I'll tell you how wrong your grand is.
All right. Well,
it's a perfectly good Canadian gun.
The other hosts, I think, will dig into the event. We head over to Gun Channels and check out the schedule of events that's coming up. Anybody's welcome to do that. Up at the top, under resources, there's a link there to the gun calendar, the firearms calendar. anybody that wants to, as a member of the gun channels, can post things on the calendar. The next one coming up on the calendar at this point would be next weekend, not this like tomorrow or whatever, but next weekend, the 27th, will be the NRA meeting. So we look forward to a bunch of people getting together and taking a bunch of pictures and hopefully collaborating on Second Amendment advocacy type issues. I'm assuming Tony's going. Hopefully he'll be an instrument in getting people together and not just make this another, yay, we're all together taking selfies and taking pictures and new stuff to buy, but taking advantage of everyone being in the same town and using some of those hours that everybody, those valuable hours everybody has together to figure out a way to unify their audiences, to both keep these channels alive that are doing individual content and also keep our audiences focused on moving Second Amendment issues at this window in time that we have, before it's not such a opportune time. I don't know about you guys. I try not to look at politics at all if I can help it, but every once in a while I'll see stuff coming from the other side. I've been visiting some people that have a sick dog and seeing their TV on and hearing some of the news from the TV, which I almost never get exposed to. And it seems like there's a pretty deliberate effort to keep people dissatisfied with anything Trump does. So I don't know if that's nothing new to people, but to suggest that, or to assume that people are just going to be okay with Trump for the next term or even the midterm elections, that they're not going to be so frustrated and so interested in switching things out that we won't see a switch in the Congress. That anyway, I'm hoping that the NRA becomes an opportunity for people to get together and come up with some, I don't know, something that we can at least move the Hearing Protection Act and some of these other acts that are actually in Congress right now, get them moving if there's any chance to move them at all this year.
Well,
All right, next coming up after that would be June 2nd, the Blade Show, also in Atlanta. I guess I didn't even say that was in Atlanta. So that's a couple of things coming up in Atlanta. Then we have the Outdoor Retailer coming up, probably in Salt Lake City. Let's see where it is.
One thing I noticed when I went and looked at the calendar the other day was the upcoming gun show that's coming this weekend in Phoenix wasn't on there.
Yeah, because I don't post every gun show, but people could if they wanted to. But yeah, there's a gun show in Phoenix this weekend also,
which I'm going to be at.
Yep. So we got Outdoor Retailer. Then there's TriggerCon. I forget where that is. I'll open it up in the new window here. I guess I'm not screen sharing anymore. TriggerCon looks like it is going to be in the Tacoma Convention Center. So I'm guessing Tacoma, Washington. So up in the northwest section of the country, we don't see too many things happening up there. Then there's a cartridge show in Ohio in October. We've got the Trinity, the place where the first atomic bomb was set off. That's accessible twice a year. So in October will be the second one, just in time for the Knob Creek shoot coming up in October out in Kentucky. And then I guess it's not listed here, but the
Big Sandy
will be in October as well. We'll see the second of the two big gun shows in Tulsa in November, and then the second weekend in December will be the big SAR show, Small Arms Review show out here in Phoenix. So not very many things on the calendar. I mean, we're still in April, and the calendars goes all the way out through December. So feel free to post, like Bob said, gun shows that might be in your area, other shooting events. There's a lot of regional, I guess you'd call them, shooting events, sort of like a Knob Creek or a Big Sandy, but on a little bit smaller level, that happen more, once a year or whatever. So please post those so that other people can know about them. If they're making travel plans, they can use it as a resource to get the most out of their vacations, get more attendees at those places. And we've talked about it before, but just having links out there to your events that you're trying to help out literally does help them out. It keeps the internet aware of them. It establishes more links. The events themselves become more valid, the more websites that link to them. So it's a
do you remember when the fast is? And is that it's Mike, and I wanted to say friend, but I don't think that's the right last name.
No, it's him. My friend runs that one out of Tulsa, and I think it's in July,
Okay.
maybe June.
I just know every time that I've seen videos of it, it's usually those hot chicks from G4, and they have a tendency to say how hot it is. So I was imagining it was the middle of summer there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I suppose when you live someplace like that where you have a winter and a summer, you probably appreciate your summers more. But when you just have a fall and then horribleness, you don't want to go out in the horribleness. So, but there's also bugs out there. So yeah, it's a whole different environment, literally. But if you live up north of that, I'm sure you don't care at all about that amount of heat, and definitely an opportunity to shoot
Oh, it
some-
looks like fun. Don't get me wrong. It looks like a great thing to go enjoy. Actually, most of those things do that you were talking about. That's probably the point, though.
Yep, we want to keep letting people know about them, so hopefully more people attend them. And like I said, the calendar becomes more used with other events so that we can keep people out there moving. All right, well, I guess that'll do it. I think that'll wrap up episode 294. Anybody else has anything else? I think Yankee will have a show tonight. Tac Daddy has a show on Thursdays. I guess I have to do the AK-47 podcast as well. Then tomorrow will be Friday, so Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Jimmy James does the early watch show over on Gun Channels, a long format show during the day. So I think he starts around 11 a.m. Eastern time. So maybe that comes out to 9 o'clock or something out here on the Pacific. And he runs that for quite a while, usually right up until we start this show at 7 p.m. Eastern, or actually a little bit before on Fridays when Heavy B will have, Heavy B will have his show. Getting all mixed up, so we were making fun of him with Heavy D.
I think it's Friday Night Sights, right? That's his show.
Yeah, and he does it on Friday afternoon, so I don't know why he calls it Friday night anymore, but he usually does that show right before our show, and then ends it up right when we
Because
start.
it rhymes. It's alliterative or whatever.
But he might not be, because I think he's zooming around in Arizona. So Bob Heavy is in Phoenix right now. Heavy, the guy from California.
Oh, cool, man.
So
Just give me a sec. I kind of lost my quote here, so.
no worries. So it sounds like Bob might have a chance to meet up with Heavy. That means Jimmy might have a chance to meet up with Heavy. I know they chat quite a bit, so that'll be pretty cool. Anybody that wants to fly down to Phoenix this weekend could meet up with Bob and Heavy and Jimmy. I think that's about it. We will be back tomorrow, which will be Friday, for episode 295. We'll be talking about flamethrowers. We'll be talking about gunsmithing schools, and we'll be wrapping up the week. Every day we do a gun shop, a gun show, a gun shop of the day, a gun of the day, and a gun movie. Tomorrow, Guns movie is Force 10 from Navarone, which I'm pretty sure we found on YouTube, right? So you can watch that movie on YouTube if you want to watch it ahead of the show.
I think it's got Apollo Creed, and I think it's got what's his name? Ringo Starr's wife in it. I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of people you would recognize.
In Force 10 from Navarone?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh. What did I do? I lost something here. Oh, here you go.
Like, and here's the thing, like it does have something to do with the other movie, but it totally doesn't. You know what I mean? And that's gonna sound, yeah, Barbara Bach, thanks. It's a good movie. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
So Bob's looking for a quote. Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Let's see. What was the first subject today? Dragon's Breath?
Yeah.
Like, was it a pro, a con, or just literally just talking about, hey, it's shotgun rounds and it shoots fire?
Yeah, just talking about them in general, where you can buy them if we've shot them, what they're for.
Have you found any practical purpose for them, G? In any of your? I mean, I already know you're. I mean, I'm not saying you don't like shotguns, because
I don't like shotguns, but I think a practical purpose for them would be the little contraptions that look sort of like mouse traps, and you could probably improvise a mouse trap to fire one of them off from a trip line, and that could be potentially pretty useful. Number one, for shooting it like into the path. So let's say you're setting up a perimeter or something in a portable camp or something, so you need something small and that you can put up and take down, replace and reuse. So, and something that doesn't weigh very much. So something like a mousetrap that can hold a shotgun shell and then throws something over to hit that primer, that might be potentially useful if those things can shoot by themselves. To, like I say, either just make a big nuisance so you're not going to mistake that thing going off, or even potentially throw in the shower down the path. If you can funnel in where they're going to be tripping the wire, then potentially screw with them, mess up their night sight and everything.
Yep.
Freak them out by having
Let alone it wouldn't really be a flare to you depending on how far away you are from that.
It just happens. You'd see it. You'd know where it happened.
Yeah,
Yes.
the sound and the flash would get your attention and let you know that somebody had just tripped your flare. Or your trap.
Let alone if they actually got lit on fire or anything like that. Then the sounds of them screaming might.
Close enough, and you think that those are magnesium flakes. You get those like close enough that it's going to get buried in your clothes at least. So that could work really well. That's a potentially useful thing for them.
Bob would probably, shoot it at some sort of a small mammal or a bird. From what
Dana
would just call it pre-barbecued.
Yeah, well, Dana was mentioning hamsters, and I never got a chance to tell him. I actually used to buy hamsters once in a while just to give them my cats to play with. But then I got tired of finding the carcasses because I'd always hide them under the couch or something.
Because what do you think happens when you do crazy stuff like that?
Well, it kept the cats entertained. And it's a hamster.
You're going to learn stuff all the time on this show. Some of it you don't want to learn, and you're going to unlearn it. What we should do is offer a pill that will unlearn some of the horrible things that you learn.
Free scrub after every free scrub.
Buy that pill from us. That was horrible.
All right. Well, maybe we should wrap this
Hopefully
up.
That'll be happening this weekend. Did you find that quote ever?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had it for a bit. I just had to listen.
Well,
all right,
with that, in episode 294, take it away.
Anyway, before I give you the quote, and it's again by one of my favorite president of yours, Theodore Roosevelt. I wanted to just remind everybody, please like, subscribe, thumbs up. Gotta remember, most of the time, I'm just kidding. Most of the time. To announce there must be no criticism of the president is morally treasonable to the American public. And that was by Theodore Roosevelt, and that's something to keep in mind. We can criticize the president. It's allowable. Well, you guys can. I can too. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.